Hey guys, it's Jermaine. Um, back with episode 2 of the channel, and it is currently Tuesday, December the 17th. It is 7:22 in the morning. We are not that far out from Christmas. I just feel like when we were kids, like Christmas was not coming this fast. Like it felt like every day was a drag, and because we were in school, still like up until like a day or two before Christmas Eve, which is crazy to me. We were like in school, so it just felt like every day was a drag. It just I don't know. But now that we're older and like the Christmas spirit isn't like as full as it was, I feel like it's just coming fast. But that's life. Um, but in the first episode of the channel, we talked about I just was answering questions about like myself and hobbies and things of that nature. And so in this part, I wanted to sort of talk about like I guess just like becoming who I am in this very moment and like the process of getting here. Um, because I'm just like full of gratitude that I am who I am today, and I'm glad that I'm where I am today, and like the mindset that I have, and that sort of thing. Because it took quite a long time to get here, and I couldn't wait to be here. And I mean, even still, like in this moment, I can't wait to see where I am a year or two from now on this day. You know what I mean? And so yeah, but I wanted to record my first video right here actually, like in the morning time, like when the sun is like rising and stuff like that, because I felt like it just would have been like so beautiful to just have that like scenery back there. Probably like minus the air conditioner, but it's okay. um but I guess starting from like middle school, probably like starting from middle school. um I attended this school called Windsor Hills. So, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. Um, One of the good things that came out of like middle school is Deasia, and she is my best friend. Like she's my first best friend. You know, outside of like my mom, who's like your built-in best friend. But like as far as like meeting people who weren't in my family, like, and it's funny because when I first met her, like I didn't like I thought she was gonna bully me because when I was younger, I was just so like small and scrawny, and it was just like so she was so tall, and I was just like nervous. And by the way, if you hear squeaking in the background, those are my guinea pigs. Um, Switching topics a little bit, I am looking. I actually, once I'm done this video, I have to call this adoption place to see if they have room for one guinea pig, because I do currently have two, and I no longer want to. Um, I just want like my original guinea pig that I had, so I'm hoping to like get her gone. So hopefully sometime before Christmas, I can, she can be gone. But that was just a side note. But anyways, um, middle school is just kind of a hectic time a little bit, and I didn't really realize it. Like sometimes you don't realize that you're in a whirlwind of stuff until you get out of it, and you just think like, wow, like you know what I mean? Like that's crazy. Like I didn't even realize that I was dealing with all of this stuff, you know. And so that was just one of those moments, where I just thought like, um sorry, sometimes I do want this to feel organic, cuz I mean, is the right word organic? I don't really know. I just want it to feel natural. Is what I'm saying basically. Excuse me. I just wanted to feel natural. I did like restart this video like 2 or 3 times, but this is the beauty of it. It's just messing up and starting somewhere again. So, um, but like sixth grade was just like I was new to this school, and like full transparency, like going into new spaces when I was younger really, really bothered me. Like it really bothered my nerves, and it really scared me because growing up, like somebody always had something to say about, concerning my sexuality. And I feel like there are much bigger issues in the world than to focus on someone's sexuality. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's too much going on in the world to focus on that. And so the fact that it was just like everybody around me always had something to say about it, it bothered me. And it wasn't anything that I was worried about until I feel like 5th grade. That's when it started to become a thing, because now you're dealing with kids who are on the more grown side, and I just like it's one of the worst things when you're just trying to be a kid, but it just seems like life has other plans for you. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody, it just seemed like left and right. It was just always something. So I just like, it was a mess. And so I kind of like, I had friends in middle school, but well, I mean, I had friends. I'm thinking of 5th grade, because 5th grade was when, like, I had a few, like, I maybe had like 1 or 2 good friends. And everybody else was just kind of like there. Like, I don't know, 5th grade was just a mess. And then, middle school comes and I'm nervous. And I still remember, like, the first day walking into class and just being nervous. And it was, like, all the girls were sitting on one side and all the boys were sitting on one side. So I went and I, like, sat with the boys. And they were talking about all the girls that came in and if they were cute or not and stuff like that. Just, like, it's, like, literally, like, a scene out of a movie. But, I mean, over time, I grew, like, a really good bond with some of these people. But that was just kind of, I feel like I would call them just, like, filler moments, if that makes sense. Like, you know how in a movie, like, you're waiting for the next big scenes, or there's just a bunch of little scenes in between. So I feel like the next big thing to happen for me, because, the next big thing to happen to me, because, like, at this point, like, my father, he is gone. He passed away when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. And I didn't, like, I knew that my dad was gone, but it didn't click for me that, like, he's not coming back, if that makes sense, because I'm so young, so, like, the days leading up to the funeral, I was fine, like, everything was normal. And then the day of the funeral, I'm fine, and then it's like they start to close the casket and I, like, lose my shit, literally. And then after that, it's fine, like, I'm back in school. You know what I mean? So, like, I never took the time to process, like, my dad is gone and he's not coming back. Like, there is no coming back. You know what I mean? I never had a chance to sit and process it. And so, of course, grief does not get easier as you get older. It actually gets harder, especially depending on the relationship and who it is to you. You know what I mean? Because I've lost a lot of people, but obviously my father is the one that, like, hurts the most. And so the older I get, the worse it gets, because you accomplish so much and everybody's there to celebrate except for this person. Like, my mom is at every event. My dad should be right there and they should be cheering me on together. But it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, but that's, a whole nother thing. But it was about 7th grade, and there was this mentoring program that took place in the school at the time that I was going there. And I knew of the program because a friend of mine, a couple of, like, guy friends of mine were in the program. And this one particular kid, his name is Dan, I'll never forget him. I don't know if this will, like, reach him or if he'll, like, see this or anything, but I'm really grateful for him. And I hope life just treats him amazing. But he kept telling me, like, you have to join. Like, I really think you should. I think it would be good for you. Like, I think you would love it. And I would tell him, like, no, I'm okay. So one day he was just like, can you come down to the library with me so I could pretend this book? I should have knew that was a lie, because I had never seen Dayon, like, read a book outside of class. So it was just like, what, you know what I mean? So when we got down there There's a bunch of guys down there, and it looked like a group thing, but I didn't know. So I'm like, damn, what's going on? He's like, oh, you're at mentoring. So I'm like, damn. So he's just like, listen, just stay for one day, and if you don't like it, you don't have to come back. So I stayed for the day, and fast forward to now, 2024, I'm 18 years old, a freshman in college, and once you graduate from high school is when you graduate out of the program. And you can come back as like an intern or like a mentor if you want to, but it's not required, But that program is probably one of the best things to happen to me like ever in my life. And it's something that I'll eternally be grateful for, like forever. Because I think I really needed it at the time. I just didn't realize it. And so over time I'm building all these bonds with like all these people. But the one person that like made this program, his name is Alfonso Mayo, and he actually, if you look him up, he'll pop up. He is like one of the most amazing people ever. And I think that like God knew that I needed someone like that in my life at the time. And that is why he sent that program to me. But also I felt like he was sending Mayo to me to just kind of be like my on earth angel, basically, and so I was in the program, and then I think like 8th grade came, or like that summer of before we got to 9th grade is when things started to get a little hectic for me. Like I felt like I didn't really know who I was, and hopefully I didn't like miss anything important, but like throughout my middle school career, middle school years, I was really just in mentoring. So I was just, most of my days I would be there. My middle school years were filled with like Whitney Houston and mentoring. That's really all I remember. And I would do this thing. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but upstairs, there's 3 bedrooms and there's our bathroom for upstairs. And I would literally there's this little round speaker that we have. I think it's in my room. And I would go into the bathroom, close the door, and for hours I would be in the bathroom with like whatever looked closest to a microphone. I would be using that as my microphone, and I would have the broom in there as like the mic stand, and I would just be performing. Like it was like the best thing. Like that was like my safe place at the time. Like, so when I was home, that's what I would be doing, or I'd be reading. Because when I was in like elementary, middle school, like that's really all I did. And I wasn't on social media. Like my mom didn't allow me to have social media, I think, until I turned 14. That's when she allowed me to get like Instagram. And I think prior to that I had Snapchat, but I wasn't really like, what you gonna do on Snapchat? Like what was I doing on Snapchat? Nothing. Taking pictures, being goofy. So I just sort of like, and then I finally got Instagram, and I feel like that's when I kind of sorted to just get sucked into like that world. Which I always said to myself, like, if I have children, like, y'all will be in the books, y'all gonna be outside, y'all gonna be playing tag, y'all gonna be rolling around in the rain, y'all gonna be playing in the mud. Like, the phones and the social media and all that will not, like, you know what I mean? Because we'll get to that. But that transitional period from 8th to 9th, or no, 9th to 10th, was, like, a really rough time for me because I was coming to terms with a lot of childhood trauma. And maybe I'll unpack, like, everything in a future episode, but it's not something that I'm interested in like talking about on YouTube right now. But I was just trying to unpack a lot of childhood trauma and forgive certain people, and you know what I mean? Like I thought for a long time I could just brush it off, and sometimes you don't realize that you even had childhood trauma until something happens and you think to yourself like, what is the reason for all this? And then it's like, oh, that is, that's what that is. And so, losing my dad, I never dealt with that. And just some of the circumstances I grew up in and never healing from that and forgiving certain people for that. And then, my sexuality and trying to figure out who I am, because growing up, being gay is bad. Being gay is horrible. And if you're gay, but it's only like that with guys, because if you meet a woman, a girl who's into girls, no one says anything, right? Like if you have a little I'm not gonna say that, but if you have like a little girl, right, like we're in middle school, and I could remember like a girl or two that were on the more boyish side, but no one says anything. But if it's a boy that doesn't play football or basketball and is a little too flamboyant and a little too extra, you know what I mean? Like he's gay, he's a faggy, all those things. You know what I mean? And so, you think YouTube would take it down for offensive words? I hope not. But just using that as an example as to like, growing up and people targeting you and saying that you're this and you're that when you're just trying to be a kid. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to make it to the next day, and that's all that people have to say. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just dealing with that and like asking God to like forgive me and like just not really knowing what to do with that. Really not knowing what to do. And so that was that. And so once 10th grade came, I think is when I slowly started to blossom into myself, like a little bit. It's definitely not how I am, like right now, currently sitting on this couch. But 10th grade came again. Like I remember my first day, Alex and Mayo dropped me off. Both are my mentors, amazing, beautiful people inside and out. I love them so much. But they dropped me off on my first day of school of 10th grade. And I remember I had on like a red shirt, the khakis, the new shoes, the fresh haircut, and I had like a pimple on my face. And I don't know what it is, but like a pimple always grows right here. So on the first day of school, I had like a pimple. But we had to wear a mask anyways because we're just coming out of like COVID. And that was the whole thing as well. But anyways, excuse me. So, they, I took pictures with them or whatever. And I remember saying to myself, like, I don't want to make any friends going in here. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to meet anyone. I don't want any new friends. I'm content where I'm at. Like, I'm cool with my best friend and Bree, who's my other best friend. At this point, they're not even best friends. They're like siblings to me, like, at this point. You know what I mean? Like, those are going to be my children's aunts and stuff like that. Like, if I decide children is what I want. But anyways, so I walk into this building. I attended Edmondson Westside High School throughout the duration of my high school years. And I actually auditioned for Baltimore School of the Arts. And I sung Saving All My Love by Whitney Houston. So I'm saving all my love for you. It's a great song. You should listen to it. And I sung that. And the guy, he actually knew how to play that on the piano. And I was so nervous. Like, I woke up early. I made some tea. And I was listening to the song. And I just... Because, again, like, middle school... And you could see in my last video, like, there's the plaque and then the pictures around, like, Whitney Houston. I just... So much love for her. But I sung that song, and all of I wouldn't necessarily call them judges because it's not like I was on American Idol, but all of the people like looked really pleased. And I got a call back. So the day I got called back, we just did like a run through of like, I don't know if it was how school would be if I got accepted. I don't really know, but we did like vocal warm-ups and stuff like that, and then I left. And I got some people's Instagrams and stuff like that. And then now you just wait. And so a part of me felt like I wasn't getting... Like, it felt too good to be true that I was going to get in. And so when I got the letter, they said that they didn't want to let me in. And I feel like the reason being was because my grades weren't good. Like schools check. High schools check. Colleges check. They check your grades. They check the whatever scores they need. Whatever. Like, in school... was not. Like, I'm doing better in college than I ever did when it came to school, okay? Not literally, but literally. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, I was just, and I was always talking, like, it was just too much. My grades were not good, and math was never my strong suit. I didn't do too bad my first semester of college. But anyways, yeah. But so that was that. And so where was I? I'm sorry, guys. I do get sidetracked a lot, and I don't want to have to like stop the video and like, do all that, and I don't want to do all that. But anyways, so I walk into the building. Excuse me. And excuse me again. And I didn't want to make any friends. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to. And then I ended up getting in 3 relationships throughout the duration of like my high school years, and I ended up becoming vice president, and I modeled. And so high school was really fun. I think the one thing I took a lot of things away from high school. I definitely made some great relationships. I like, Shania is one of my good friends, best friends. And I always tell her, like, I'm just thankful that we made it through. Because you meet a lot of people in high school and you don't really stick it through with them. And I still think about some of those people. Those people that I thought I was going to be friends with forever. And it just didn't work out, And not everybody's on the same, like, wavelength. Not everybody's on the same maturity level. Not everybody's on the same type of timing that you're on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you just have to... You cannot always meet people where they are. And you cannot always try to bring people where you are, because not everybody's ready. You know what I mean? And everybody just has to grow on their own. And you're just not meant to be in everybody's life. And that's something that I had to learn, like, the hard way. And so, like, with all of the relationships I got in, like, granted, it's only high school, but I'm a very deep, passionate person. Like, everything means something to me. You know what I mean? So getting in these relationships, like, I thought it was one thing, and it really, I don't know how to put it, because I don't want to say, like, at the time that I didn't love these people. Like, it wasn't that, but just because someone has the same color as you, likes the same artist, and you two can share a laugh together, doesn't mean that you guys need to be together. And that's something that I had to learn. Like, just because you're attractive and you're what I think is my type, and we can laugh and joke and we like the same movies, that does not mean that we need to be together at all. That does not mean that at all. And I just used to kind of take that and run with it. And I wouldn't even get to know them. Like, I wouldn't really take the time to get to know them. I would just sort of rush into something. Oh, I love you. We're going to get married. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then it was just the whole thing. And then in the end, I'll be looking dumb crying. Again, this is high school. So it's not that deep. But for me, it is that deep. It's always that deep. And my teacher made a comment one day, Miss Falcon, who was also like one of the great things that I got out of that school. Not things, people, but I remember one day I think her best friend came. She was my English teacher. And I feel like English teachers are just always like those teachers. Like, English and science teachers are always like some of the best teachers. But anyways, she told me one day, she was talking to a friend about me and like Shania and some of her other favorite students. And she was just like, Jermaine thinks he's always in love. And in the moment, I'm just like, girl. But like, I literally did. Like, I just used to always think that I was so madly in love, and it really wasn't that. It was just infatuation and a little bit of trauma bonding and a little bit of, like, just unhealthy attachment. And, when you take all those things and mix it together and you think you love someone, you don't really get anywhere, and it's never really good. And honestly, like, out of all of my relationships I've been in, the only one that I really like, I'm not gonna say the name or anything, but it was only one boy that I really kind of really deeply like took the time to get to know and really cared for, but even that didn't work, and everything happens for a reason. But just learning that, like, well, first of all, before I lose it, I was saying that to say that now in college, like, I don't want to say I feel emotionally unavailable, but because throughout all of high school I was just trying to give my all to these people, not these people, but these guys, and none of it worked out, and I just felt like it, not to say it was my fault, but of course you play a part in everything, and just feeling like, what were you doing? Like, in college is a time to date around and have fun and make whatever mistakes you want to make and then blame it on being in college. But it's like, I'm not doing any of that. Like, and I've never been the type to do that. So, like, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not dating. I'm not, and there are, some great people, I'm sure, but I just don't. I know what I can bring to the table, and I just don't have the energy, to give all of that to anybody right now. It's just like I'm just all for myself at the moment, and my goals and my dreams. And sometimes you be thinking like, okay, it would be great to be touched right now, and it would be great to be making out, and it's like sometimes you forget what a hug feel like. Shit, but it's okay. It's all good. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay. It's not okay, but it is okay. But it's just crazy to me that I kind of got to this point because I guess I just realized, like, Jermaine, you really need to spend a lot of time with yourself. Like, you spent more time with people than you did with yourself, and that's a problem. So, but outside of like the relationship aspect of high school, I say I made out pretty good. Like, I became vice president. I didn't run for vice president, and my friend Taylor, she ran for vice president. And the way she tells the story is that I was going around telling people to vote me for vice president, but I really don't remember that. But that's the way she tells it. So maybe I was, and she didn't really like me for a long time. Not a long time, but then I joined modeling, and me and her became really close. So that was that. But yeah, I became vice president, and it was definitely like a little stressful at times, but overall it was a fun experience. I feel like if you're in high school, you definitely need to, like, whether you're in high school, college, middle school, elementary school, I don't know who's watching this, but do something new, try something new, um do something, find hobbies, all that. Like, you want to do all that stuff. So that was that. And then I modeled. So that's where I found my love for modeling. And I think what helped a great deal. So Beyonce. So Beyonce is another one of my, like, she's one of my favorite artists. And so getting into like her music, more so like the songs, like, I don't know, when her songs come on, you just want to walk, you just want to model, you just want to strut. And so I naturally have like a just a walk, and I love it. I've become more confident over time in it. Unless somebody like puts me on the spot and it's like, oh, like, and it's like that with singing too. Like, I'm naturally just good at it, but like if someone puts me on the spot, you might not get the best of me. So again, I got into Beyonce, I think, when I was in 7th or 8th grade. Maybe even 9th or 10th. Somewhere in that range. It wasn't 7th grade, it wasn't 8th grade. It had to have been like 9th grade, 10th grade when I really started like getting into her. And I would just listen to her all the time. And she just, like, a confidence boost was given, and I started to like slowly feel good about myself. Like, I never felt like I was ugly, but and then again, this goes back to like being on social media and like seeing all these people, like seeing all these guys that look like, okay, I remember when I came back from 7th grade summer break to 8th grade, I think it was, And I remember walking into the room and all these boys that sounded like the girl chipmunks now sound like the Allstate guy. Like, how does this even make sense? And I can still sing I Will Always Love You in the original key. So how does this even correlate? Like, what's going on? Like, is puberty gonna pass me by? Like, please no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it goes back to that. So like, just not feeling 100% confident in myself and walking into rooms being nervous. Like, it's just one of the most horrible things in the world, basically. And so, that's what that was. And so listening to Beyonce like gave me like a new confidence, kind of like, so when Freakum Dress came on, it was like, okay, I'm the baddest bitch to ever grace the planet. All right, okay. Or like, just those good feel good songs. Like that, I feel like that's the beauty of music. Like it can reach and touch whoever. And I feel like everyone just has that artist that just like, wow, you know. But I have a lot of artists that I just really love. Like I love Adele. Adele was the first. Okay, so for a long time, the only song I knew was "Take Me to the King." It is not funny, but like for a really long time, that's really the only song I knew. Like I swear, and it was because it played at my dad's funeral, so that was really the only song that I knew by heart because I would just listen to that over and over. And then my music taste was going off of what everyone else was listening to at the time. So I don't really care if you cry in my eye. Like it was just my music taste was curated around what was trending at the time. And then I think around 2018, 2019 is when I started to like kind of get into music myself. So I started to listen to the SZA and I started to listen to SZA and stuff like that. And I started to kind of get into my own music taste. Because, again, throughout middle school, it was only Whitney Houston, so I listened to. So I know my whole house was sick of my ass. And then I started to listen to, like, other artists. And I remember one day I was listening to a rap song, and my uncle was like, no, I don't like that. Because I'm usually in the bathroom singing freaking Ain't No Way by Aretha Franklin and Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Diana Ross. And now all of a sudden I'm listening to rap songs that's talking about cussing. And you know what I mean? Like, again, that is the tragedy of not being yourself. And so my uncle, like, he was just like, no, I don't like that you're listening to that stuff. Like, and so Adele was probably the first artist that I ever, like, fell in love with. I don't know what I was going through at the time for me to be able to relate to these songs and like love them so much, but I was like, yeah. So that was that, and then Whitney, and then like Beyonce, and then over time I started to get into like really like small, not small artists, but like underground artists and stuff like that. So that was that, and then yeah, I don't remember what the point of me saying that was, but yeah, so then 10th grade was when my confidence started to get there a little bit. And then 11th grade, I really was just like, wow. Like I kind of started to walk into rooms like, okay, head held high a little bit. Like I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am. And then I think by 12th grade, like the girls couldn't take me. And then, yeah, you just kind of like, I don't know. And I do know, I'm just like, again, I want this to feel like I'm just having a conversation with whoever is on the other side of the screen. So if you're still even watching this to this point, I love you and I thank you for sticking with me. And I'm going to remember you when we are at like 10 million subscribers. But I'm even proud of myself for even making the second video, like for even making the first video. Like I'm just really proud, and like I just feel good about it. Yeah. But yeah, so that was just like that, and by the time 12th grade came and I walked across that stage, I just was proud of myself. I cried the day that I graduated. And not everyone is like emotional, and not everyone is, but just thinking about this little kid who, you know, just wanted to be loved and held and protected and you know all those things that a kid needs, you know, from a community, a village. It's like I wanted all those things, and it didn't necessarily felt like I had all of those things. And so I, at some point, I made a promise to myself. And I remember my dad telling me, you know, like, be better than me. Like, don't be like me. Don't do anything that I'm doing. I want you to be better than me. You know, like remember just like the tone in his voice, and like how he was just telling me, and I just was just like, okay, you know, and then making a promise to myself that to just be that ray of like, is this bothering? No. But to just be like that light that, like, when you walk into a room, people are like, oh my gosh, like, who is that, you know? Or when I walk into a room, people are happy to see me, like, you know. So if I just waste a week of just rotting away in bed, knowing that within that week, whether I texted someone, called someone, checked on someone, like knowing that I made someone feel good about themselves or life, like that makes me feel good. And a part of me feels like the reason that I'm on this earth is to just be that person for people. You know what I mean? And of course I have people like that that are like sunshines in my life and are like, you know what I mean? But I feel like my purpose is to just be that person for people. You know, and maybe not. And of course you win some, you lose some, live to fight another day, word to Pops and Friday. Um But I mean, of course, that I feel like it could change. Of course, I mean, you know, who knows? But I feel like in the moment, like that's kind of what I'm here for. Um, but yeah, I the day I graduated, it was that was a great day. You know, I made it. I did it, and everybody that I wanted to be there was there. I mean, not everybody that I wanted to be there was able to come, because you know you only get a certain amount of tickets. But I felt good. I was happy, and then it was just like, damn, what now? You know, oops, excuse me. And then it's like now it's college. And I think the best part about all of what I talked about is that I came into college knowing who I am, knowing what I want, knowing my desires and my wants and needs, and what I don't want and what I don't need. And I think that's the best part about it all, because a lot of people go into college not knowing themselves. And a lot of people go into college and they didn't have that freedom. You know, their parents kind of had them on a leash, you know, and so they get to college and they forget what they're there for, and they're failing their classes and they flunk out, or whatever the case is. Like, you know, they get there and they don't really, they're just kind of buck wild. And again, to each his own. Like, I'm not a judgmental person at all. Do what you, as long as you are safe and you feel like you're doing what is right for you, do what the fuck you want to do. And I wish that I could express that to like everybody around the world. Like, this is your life. You do not, I feel like the smart choice is what society would say is the right thing to do. But you have to do what feels right for you. Unless it is a dumbass decision, now you need to sit down and think about what you're about to do. But do what feels right for you. Do what you feel is coming from your heart. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's the issue with the world today. Like, a lot of people don't know themselves. A lot of people go based off of what's trending and what's hot and what's new and this, and that. And it's like, if you just be yourself, and again, not everyone knows how to. Not everyone got to experience the beauty of going through and realizing, like, okay, I need to figure out who I am. Like, not everyone has had that moment yet. Sometimes it takes people to be in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, and you know, again, I don't have it all figured out. I don't. I really don't. But I'm glad that I have a sense of self and a sense of like, okay, this is what, you know. I know myself for where I am right now in this chapter, this book of my life. I know who I am. So I'm just glad that I went into college. You know what I mean? Just knowing who I am. And so, I mean, yeah, in college is good. My first semester is wrapped up. Second semester starts January 22nd. And I'm like so excited. Not so excited. I am excited. A part of me still can't believe that I'm in college. Like, it's crazy to me. But I think every day, at least once a day, I just think like, wow, I came a really long way, and I'm just really proud of myself. And for everyone, like literally every single person that played a major part in my life at some point, whether they're here or not, I'm thankful for them too. Like, I don't know if any of those people will be watching this, but like, I'm just grateful for every little thing, every minor inconvenience, major inconvenience, like everything that has happened for a reason and has led me to this very moment right here. So you can take something away from this, you know? And I feel like that pretty much is like, and then again, this channel, I've always wanted to have these types of conversations online with people who really understand. You know what I mean? And with people who need to hear it. Like, hopefully this video reaches, if this video could get 350 views. If at least one person takes something away, baby, that's all that matters. That is all that matters. Like, knowing that I helped somebody potentially and made someone, like, that's all that matters, really, honestly. And so, yeah. I was fixing my nose ring, by the way. I wasn't thinking about nose ring. But yeah, I think that I've, hit my mark for this episode. So yeah, again, I want to thank you guys so much if you got this far. And yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, I thank you so much. I love you, beautiful person. Thank you so much for wanting to, stick it through with me, and just thank you. Thank you. And so I did say that at the end of every episode, I would leave you guys with something. And so all of what I'm gonna leave you with in episode 1, episode 2, which is this one, and all the future ones are gonna be from my highlights on Instagram, and my Instagram is in the description box thing. So yeah, remember to hone back into yourself at any given moment. And what that means is we have free will to do whatever it is we desire. We have free will to do anything. But if at any given moment you feel lost or whatever, go back to what really makes you happy. And I ain't saying that person that's toxic. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, if you used to love reading books, try to find new books that have new meaning and you feel like can, maybe give you a sense of purpose or whatever. But hone back into yourself when you feel like it, because this is your home. This is your temple. This is your body. You need to take care of it. You need to love it. You need to nourish it. You need to feed it, like both mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. You need to just take care of yourself, because you are the most important person in your life at the end of the day, So just making sure that when you wake up, you look in the mirror, you feel good, you feel sexy, you feel like a baddie. And if you drink water and mind your business, you might be able to look this good. Maybe. I don't know. That's what they said. But, yeah. So just take with that which you will. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I hope you guys have a great Christmas if I don't see you guys before then. Yeah, bye.